Hello, all, and welcome to another episode of the Triple H podcast, Happy Hour Hoops, your one stop shop for enjoying a cold beverage and listening to our ice cold basketball takes, everything NBA all the time. As always, Donovan Holden and Jake Micah here today to go over a little game one of the NBA Finals. It is now finals season. The finals are underway. Suns, Bucks game one. Suns take it 118-105. Jake, initial thoughts from game one. What did you see? What did you like? What do you have?
Well, we talked about it yesterday a little bit, and just seeing Chris Paul kind of be able to get into this series and be in the NBA Finals and see how he performed in the NBA Finals. And he balled out, man. I mean, 32 points, 9 assists. He added a steal in there. I want to see what his shooting percentages was. He was 12 for 19 from the field, so over 60% from the field. I mean, they got the performance they needed from Chris Paul. They got an incredible DeAndre Ayton performance, the first 20-15 and 70% from the field since Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Him and DeAndre Ayton are the only two people. Anytime you're in a category with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar alone, you're probably set up pretty well. You're probably doing pretty well for yourself. And Booker, we were talking about yesterday, we said over under 27.5 points, right? I still got it up here, right? 27.5 points for the series. What does he do last night? 27 points in his first finals game. I mean, the big three showed up for them, and that's really what's the difference in this game and could be the difference in this series is those big three stars for them showed up, played well, played great. And the three stars didn't for the Bucks. I mean, we had a great Middleton performance, which that's what worries me about the Bucks is they already got the good Middleton performance. So we know the bad Middleton performance is coming. Had 29 points, only on 46% shooting, but he knew he had to shoot the ball because Giannis only 11 shots. He had 20 points, but it looked like in the second half he just didn't have the lift, didn't have the energy to keep going with that knee. He kind of tweaked it on a little bit of a run-in with Jay Crowder at one point and just wasn't the same the rest of the way. Jrue Holiday, brutal game. Brutal. Like 4 for 14. That's just not going to do it for them. So it was really just as simple as it is. We talked about it. It's the three stars against the three stars, and the three stars for the Phoenix showed up, and Jrue Holiday didn't, and Giannis still doesn't look – he looks like he can get to 100% on some plays, but not consistently throughout the game. And that's going to be an issue for the Bucks going forward.
Yeah, and now you have to ask, and I'm sure everyone's asking at this point, can he get to 100% now? Did he re-aggravate it? Because this is kind of what me, you, and Meerkat were talking about last night before the game is almost do they need to throw him into game one unless he is already showing that he's 100% right now? And clearly, I mean, he was ready to go. Like, that much is clear. He was bullying Ayton on the block early in the game. I mean, he had that incredible LeBron James-like block, that chase down on Bridges. So, I mean, there was flashes of 100% Giannis, but now I think it's fair to ask, is this a minor setback or a major setback for Giannis at this point and for the Bucks in this series? But, I mean, yeah, the biggest thing from the Bucks, I mean, 20-17, salvageable performance. Obviously, you want more from Giannis, a guy who put up 47 on the Phoenix Suns earlier this season. But obviously, it's Holiday's the biggest issue there. You hear Mike Breen, and he brought up yesterday during the game, when are we really ever going to see the performance where all three of these guys really click and have a performance kind of like the Suns' big three did?
Yeah.
I feel like it's been a while since we've seen that. Holiday and Middleton played great as the two stars when Giannis was down, but now Giannis is back and Holiday kind of goes ghost. So, very, very slippery slope for Milwaukee, and it's really hard to even tell what the rest of this series is going to look like, especially from the Bucks sideline.
Well, that's the thing with the Bucks. Like, you look at this whole roster, it's like, where's it coming from? Like, it's not going to be PJ Tucker. Brooke Lopez is a fish out of water. Like Chris Paul and Devin Booker made it a point that if you're going to switch Brooke Lopez onto us, we're just going to torch him. And he was basically unplayable by the end of that game. And then you look at their bench, like these were the 4 guys that came off their bench yesterday. Pat Connaughton, Bobby Portis, Bryn Forbes, Jeff Teague. That was their bench. That is not a NBA final team bench that is coming in for the support. So they really only have and I mean, Teague and Forbes only played 9 and 11 minutes together. Connaughton had 28, Bobby Portis 14. So they really only played the 6 guys. And one of those guys is Giannis, who is or isn't close to 100% right now. Clearly, I mean, the 11 shot attempts is what showed. Like the 20 points, like we've seen Giannis go on cold scoring nights sometimes, but only shooting the ball 11 times in a game like this, especially down the stretch when they really could have used him like asserting himself, was what worried me the most about what we're going to see for him going forward in this series.
He had a 3 last night too.
He did. He cashed that 3.
Yeah.
That was right after he got hurt too. Like that was literally right after he started touching his knee and then hits the 3.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta. Honestly, we talked about Holiday not showing up. It's just as concerning now that you bring that to my attention. 11 shots, like that's. I mean, of course, there's times and games where we see superstars and they shoot, however many times, X amount of times. Especially Russell Westbrook gets a lot of hate for the amount of times he shoots the ball. But at the end of the day, NBA Finals, I mean, you're a back-to-back MVP. You can't be taking 11 shots in a game, no matter how banged up you are or not. The amount of minutes he played, I mean, the amount everyone else was struggling except Middleton, I think you got to be fine with like at least 25 shots from Giannis last night.
Yeah, like you just got to put him up, bro. Like you got to make something happen offensively, even if you're hampered. Like he had 12 free throw attempts. He was getting to the line. That was one of the things too. Is we've talked about the refs. The refs are the third team in this series as they have been all playoffs. The free throw discrepancy in favor of Phoenix was kind of ridiculous by the end of it. I don't know what it ended up being. I'm trying to see like the regular whole box score. I can't find it on Basketball Reference right now, but it was at one point in the fourth quarter, I think it was 20-7 or 21-7 in favor of Phoenix, and Giannis got a couple more of those. But it was in favor of Phoenix the whole night.
At one point, it was. I think the Phoenix Suns were 19 of 19 from the free throw line, and the Milwaukee Bucks were 3 of 6.
Yeah, that's okay. So that's what I was thinking of too.
I don't know how it finished, but I know that was a stat at one point in the game. I think that was like late third quarter, I want to say.
The Bucks ended up 9 of 16, and the Suns ended up 25 of 26. So that's another thing in this game too is Giannis misses 5 free throws. Brooke Lopez misses both his free throws. There's 7 points. I mean, add those 7 points, you're at a 6-point game late in this game or something like that. And the Suns didn't miss.
Those Brooke misses were crucial. I remember too. That was, I believe, at the end of the third quarter, and it was just deflating, dude. Like they both missed so bad. Like both like just very short, no legs in it, front of the rim, and it was like right when Booker and Paul were just trading shots every time up the court.
I will say I respect the fact that Giannis sped it up a little bit yesterday. He was at 12 at the beginning. Crowd was counting, and then he was getting it under 9 or 10. So they're getting to him. Like he has to be thinking about it if he's speeding it up that little bit. So
I feel like to get rid of that, like one, I love it. Like that's probably one of the best like free throw chirps, like trying to get someone to miss I've ever seen. Just because like, especially if a guy literally gets violations for this, like it's perfect. But to me, I feel like Giannis just needs to shoot it within like the first 5 seconds. Like they'll stop counting if every time they do that, he shoots it at 3. Like that's not nearly as fun as getting all the way to 13. Like I get you shouldn't like really like as a pro, like you shouldn't change your routine.
Yeah.
But at this point, he missed 5 free throws. How many did he take? He probably shot under 50%.
He was 7 for 12, so damn near 50%. Yeah.
Okay, so better than I thought, but still, like
that's still brutal. No, that's not. Like that's inexcusable. 58% from the line
for an MVP too. Like, come on, man. But yeah, I don't know. Something needs to change for Milwaukee. I don't know if I'm at the point to say this. You mentioned the bench players. I think if we see another game like we did last night in Game 2, where it really never looked like they had a chance after the first half. And Brooke Lopez is kind of looking unplayable again. I kind of want to see the Bucks just live or die by the three ball and play. You mentioned the bench guys who got minutes. I think Portis is going to start stealing a lot of Lopez's minutes anyway. But then Forbes and Connaughton are interesting to me. I hate Jeff Teague. I hate seeing him in the finals because he stunk on the Celtics all year, and now he's been like hitting some big shots here and there. I don't want him to get minutes. But Bryn Forbes is a guy who lit it up a couple times against Miami. He's had other big games in these playoffs. He can really get hot. Pat Connaughton's a good shooter. He's a good volume shooter. He'll knock down threes. I think if you play those guys extra minutes and keep working the ball, I think that's Milwaukee's problem a lot when Giannis plays is they don't work the ball around a lot, and they're a team that can. PJ Tucker can square or spot up from the corner. Connaughton, Forbes, Middleton, Holiday, those guys can all knock down the three. And then if Lopez does have to get in there for extended minutes, he can also knock down three. He hit a couple last night. So, it may be the Bucks coming down to, or this is what I would do. I would live or die by the three ball if, we see another game like we did last night.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the Bucks adjust because we've questioned those adjustments all series, right? So, or not all series, all playoffs, and they've managed to skate through so far. But we've talked about the Suns getting lucky. The Bucks have been extremely lucky. I mean, they dominated the Heat, sure, but obviously got lucky with Brooklyn, got lucky with Trey injury. So it's I want to see how they adjust against a team that's fully healthy and looks fully formed. And I know you had this ready for us to go through, but the Suns last night just looked like they were ready for the moment, right? Like they looked like they were ready for it. If you've got that ready there, we had Jay Crowder in the press conference kind of put it perfectly.
Yeah, it's a little self-loathing he hypes himself up a little bit at the end, but yeah, I thought Crowder put it well. I'll play it for you guys here. Just purely about the Suns' motivation, and they just look more prepared. I think anyone who watched the game last night, they could see that. Jay Crowder especially, I mean, me and Jake were talking about before we hopped on here. He had a horrible game. He shot 0 for 8, but he had 9 rebounds, and just watching that game, he was making game-winning plays. He was getting in Giannis's face. Lopez, it didn't matter. That dude, going after the ball, Crowder's a gamer. And this is what he had to say this afternoon about game one.
The one thing that sticks out to me about the team is just like how bad everyone wants it, how bad everyone's willing to go above and beyond for success. I think that stuck out to me for our younger players, just wanting to be special in this league, wanting to grow and wanting to learn. I think that was big for our group to put some leaders around the guys that are younger and haven't been in the many situations or many important games. Just being willing to just accept advice and apply it on a daily basis has been great to be a part of and see our younger players grow. And I think me as a player, I just bring a winning environment. I just like to win. I do whatever it takes to win, whether it be hit the game-winning shot, make the game-winning block, get the game-winning steal, or game-winning rebound. I just want to do whatever it takes to win the game by any means necessary, and I just feel like that's what I bring to any team.
Just want the game winning everything. That's all.
Yeah,
I need from the team.
I could do all those things, but that's it. Nothing crazy. But no, I thought Crowder summed it up pretty well. All through the roster, you got vets like himself who it did sound a little self-centered, but he's kind of right. Like I've seen Jay Crowder hit big shots throughout his career, but it usually is a game-winning block, steal, rebound. I mean, he's that type of guy where he just plays with tenacity from start to end, whistle. And then we've seen the young guys. I mean, Cam Payne, like he's a bit of a tweener, but he's had an unbelievable journey, stays motivated. Guys like Cam Johnson, Book, Ayton. I mean, Ayton's been unbelievable. You mentioned, he's in company with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar after game one in the NBA Finals. So, I mean, they just look the most motivated. The only bad news that we haven't covered yet for the Phoenix Suns is Dario Saric did tear his ACL last night. Early in that game, came down real awkwardly on his knee. You could tell that it was a non-contact, scary injury kind of from the jump. I guess obviously it sucks. Sarge was playing some pretty notable minutes through these playoffs. I think a guy that will be missed for this series, I guess I got to ask you, and this is no knock at Saric. I just think the Suns look like they kind of had it in control even when he was out of the game. But Dario Saric, torn ACL, not sure how much this hurts the Suns, but it doesn't help their issue of already lacking in size. Do you think this, makes an impact on the series really at all?
I don't think it impacts the series at all. It hurts the depth, obviously, behind DeAndre Ayton. But Torrey Craig came in for those minutes. Torrey Craig has looked great all playoffs coming in. When Cam Johnson was out, he stepped up in that game. He only had 3 points, but he was like a plus 30 or something like that. Torrey Craig is a valuable piece to this team. I think getting him more minutes is not going to hurt. I'm not a big fan of Saric. Obviously, I hope he gets better. I hope he's okay. But I'm not a big fan of his game anyways, especially on this team. It just doesn't seem like it fits the role that he needs to play. So I don't think it's going to affect them. It's kind of crazy. Bill Simmons was mentioning this earlier too, but that Jalen Smith, their first-round pick, can't get on the floor even with Dario Saric getting out. And that'd be great if they could get some minutes from him. But we do have a new storyline to follow in this series. With Dario Saric out, Frank Kaminsky is returning to Wisconsin. Will be returning to Wisconsin in Game 3, his homeland, and I think we are due for a big Frank the Tank outburst in Game 3. There's always the one finals game where somebody completely random goes off for 20 points, and I'm willing to bet that it's going to be Frank Kaminsky. And if I can leave you guys with anything from this episode, it is the belief that I truly have in Frank Kaminsky to go off at some point.
I mean, that dude deserves his championship, right? He never got the natty in college.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he'll get it here with the Phoenix Suns. I do want to mention, too, Torrey Craig, I'm almost positive he gets a ring regardless because he started the year with the Milwaukee Bucks.
Oh, no shit. I didn't even realize that. Good for him. That's a finesse.
Yeah.
God damn.
Dude, why is there – I feel like the last 5-6 finals, there's been at least one guy
that's getting a ring no matter what.
I
think so too, honestly.
I feel like that's been happening, dude. And then also a crazy stat. Everyone's heard it by now, but I did want to mention this. This just came to mind after we talked about Jay Crowder. He's the only player from either team to have an NBA Finals appearance, and it was last year with the Miami Heat.
That's crazy. That is wild.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things about this series. It's so I was just sitting there, we've been talking about that these two teams, any of these teams being in the finals would have been crazy just because of the history of these teams. But actually seeing all the final stuff on the graphics on the court, first of all, the court, we talked about how the court could be so much better. And it's not even real logos now. It's superimposed. They got random Oculus logos on there that aren't actually on whatever, not getting into that. But it just looks weird seeing the Suns and the Bucks as the two teams in the NBA finals. It's just kind of absurd. Those two teams in an NBA Finals game. It was jarring in Game 1.
They do have the trophy logo up on the ceiling somewhere, or under the jumbotron, and there's a sick photo taken last night of Chris Paul, just his back kind of facing the entire court, and then just the Finals logo, the trophy logo, right above his head, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's dope. All right, well,
that was pretty much Game 1, guys.
Yeah, that was Game 1. So follow us at Happy Hour Hoops 1. Follow us at Trainwreck Sports. Subscribe to this podcast, Happy Hour Hoops, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We're on YouTube as well. We'll be back tonight. This podcast will be out tomorrow morning. Well, it might be up tonight, either late tonight, tomorrow morning. We got Game 2 tonight, though. It's going to be 13-point game, whatever. That was a great game of basketball the whole way through.
Yeah.
It was a great game. I'm expecting another great game in Game 2. So for Donovan Holden, Jake Micah, that was Game 1 of the NBA Finals. We'll be back with Game 2. Have a great night. Stay hydrated, folks.
Later, guys.
Enjoy the games.